You already know what time it is. This is the Certified Podcast, and I'm your host, Mike Ginn. Welcome back. We are on episode number 7. Of course, brand new episodes come out every single Friday. And this episode, I am lucky enough to be featuring Mike Ginn. Yes, you heard me right. Mike Ginn, not Mike Ginn. Spelt the same, pronounced a little differently. Mike is an awesome actor. He's from New Zealand, now living out in LA. We talk about his journey and how he got to where he is now. And of course, many of you know Mike was also featured as one of the Power Rangers on the RPM series back in the day in New Zealand. He was known as Jem, the Gold Ranger. He, of course, hits all the conventions now, and he took a little bit of a break, but we talk about his break. We talk about him being back into acting now and trying to accomplish his goals and what those goals are and his journey in general. But before we get to any of that, of course, it's time for a shameless plug. You can find The Certified Podcast. Search The Certified Podcast on iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, and YouTube as well. Of course, you can find all of the show notes, all of the links, all of the content on thecertifiedmag.com, thecertifiedmag.com. And please, please, please send me any feedback, mg at thecertifiedmag.com, mg at thecertifiedmag.com. Please send me any feedback. Good, bad, ugly. I can't get better without you guys, and I love hearing everything. I love reading everything. Like I said, the good, the bad, it doesn't matter. Only way I can get better is if you guys keep sending me the feedback. Now, let's get on to the show. No more shameless plugs to go. We are here. This is the Certified Podcast. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Certified Podcast. I swear to God, I am not talking to myself today. I'm joined by Mike Ginn. He pronounces it a little bit differently, but same name. Mike, how you doing today, buddy?
Good, man. It's a bit early here in LA, but I'm actually, I woke up pretty good, and I'm looking forward to it. My first podcast ever, so yeah.
Awesome.
Doing good, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you getting up for me. It's noon here on the East Coast, but he's out in LA, so it's a little bit early.
Yeah.
So Mike is an actor, for those that don't know, and I'm sure there's many people that do. He is part of the Power Ranger culture. Anybody that follows that culture knows it's got I don't know the right way to put it, a nice, because I'm kind of a geek myself, so I'm not saying this is an insulting way, but kind of like a geek culture.
Yeah.
You know, the Comic-Con, very loyal following. And actually, I do have one quick question about that before we kind of get into a lot of other stuff. So back in the day when you did this, and I think it's been almost 10 years now, right?
Yeah. Someone did that recently. I was like, what? Yep, they're gone.
Because you did it like right as soon as you pretty much started acting, like 8, 9, 10 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for people. Yeah, go on. Sorry, you had a question.
No. I mean, this is like a conversation, so we can go back and forth. It's not an interview.
Okay, cool.
I try to make these as authentic as possible. I don't want people to feel like, hey, what's your favorite color? We don't do any of that crap.
Okay.
But I remember very distinctly because, obviously you've Googled your own name before, and we all do it. Don't pretend we're not vain.
Everyone.
And when I Googled it, all of a sudden this guy starts coming up who plays this Power Ranger. And I'm like, wait a minute, where did this come from? I used to always be the top result. Yeah. so he kind of stole my fame a little bit, but it always said black and gold. And now when I look back on it, now it just says gold.
I've never seen, and I have, everyone Googles their name, I've Googled my name. I've never actually Googled it and seen black and gold, actually. It's always, I don't know where the black came from. For those that don't know, I played the gold Power Ranger on Power Rangers RPM. I'm not sure where the black and gold came from. There is no kind of like black and gold. I was just the gold.
Okay.
But yeah, for those that don't know as well, Power Rangers, it's like they're celebrating their 25th anniversary this year. And so it's been on for 25 years. And I talk to people and people are like, oh, this is still going on, and it's been going on like nearly every year since the original, one that everyone grew up with.
Yeah, it's like a cult culture. Yeah.
But just every season it reboots itself, essentially. People don't know, but it's been on TV. It just reboots itself. And essentially, so every kind of season, every year, they essentially have a different set of cast and then costumes and themes. Like mine was RPM, which is like vehicle theme, and there'll be like a like Ninja Steel or like Dino Charging, like different kind of like just kind of like themes for that particular season. And it's essentially to, I guess, keep the merchandise and the toys and the Halloween costumes different every year, because the merchandise is a big part of the franchise there, a big part of the money.
So when they do a character for Power Rangers, do they ever repeat the same color? Because I mean, like you said, it's been going on for like. So when they do a character for Power Rangers, because this thing's been going on for like 25 years, do they ever like repeat the same color, or are you always going to be known as the Gold Power Ranger Gem?
No. They do repeat colors. They probably run out of colors at this point. Every season, from my understanding, there's always been a red, yellow, and blue, like every season, and then they'll kind of like change it up. They'll be like black occasionally, and sometimes, and then like pink sometimes. Not we didn't have a pink Power Ranger in our season, and then you might have some crazy colors like gold and silver and then like titanium or whatever. But so they do change it up. The colors. But I think there's always been red, yellow, and blue. I think one of the new seasons doesn't have one of those actually, so I think that's just changed the rules suddenly. But yeah. Something like that.
And I don't want the fans coming after me because I am totally naive to this subject. So I'm genuinely asking the questions. I don't want the No. I don't want the hate mail piling up on me. These are honest questions.
I'm totally. If anyone deserves the hate mail, it's me. Only because when I go to these conventions, and you talk to the fans, like I've only seen my season out of all the 25 seasons. I've only seen mine, so I don't actually know what's. I don't know actually, and they're talking about like Power Rangers Time Force and In Space and this and that and these different ranges, and I mean the actors from these shows, and I don't really even know where they're from, which season they're from, and so like I'm the one totally out of the loop, and I'm a Power Ranger, and so last convention I was like, okay, so tell me the top season so I can go watch this so I don't look like such an, ignorant fool next time,
the original,
I'm at a convention. But yeah, I don't.
The original, right? I mean, that's what started off.
It's apparently, okay, so this, like I said, I actually got it from the fans' mouths. But, since then, the story has gotten a lot better because, certain seasons kind of were. Well, first of all, this is one thing I don't know until I kind of entered the Power Ranger universe, which was like these are a lot of adult fans that watch that is into Power Rangers. They grew up on Power Rangers.
Yeah, they grew up with it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just become a cult thing for a lot of people, and so So when you speak to adult fans at conventions, you'll get different answers because certain seasons are geared more towards children, story-wise, and adults. And so in terms of like top three, Mighty Morphin doesn't necessarily get, it was always the original, and I think it's going to hold a special place in everyone's heart just because it was the first. But in terms of like, if you're going to sit down as an adult fan to watch it, like there are better seasons, apparently, story-wise that would make for better viewing, I guess.
Oh, I'm sure. Times passed by. It's been 25 years. I'm sure the story writing and everything else has been updated to the point where, the latest and greatest. But yeah, I never really watched more than that first. Like the first one, I guess, ran for like maybe 2 or 3 seasons. Like it didn't. I don't think it was just one season. Something like that. Maybe I'm wrong, but and I remember. I remember being a kid when it first came on, and it was pretty cool. And off the air, I'll make the comparison that some people make from my generation of what it reminded them of. I definitely not going to get filled with hate comments on the social networks right now. But because I'm definitely respectful because I mean, like I said, 25 years is a hell of a thing. No matter if you thought it started off as like a spin off of something else, it's achieved its own cult following and its own cult status,
sure.
and they even had the movie a couple years ago. So and the movie actually wasn't bad at all. Like I watched it.
I haven't seen that either.
Now you're getting yourself in trouble.
See that.
Yeah, now you're getting yourself in trouble.
Yeah, exactly. Totally. I've been in trouble a long time ago. Yeah.
Next Comic-Con or whatever, they're gonna be like, "You haven't seen the movie? We heard the interview."
Yeah.
And they will look it up. They will look this interview up. So both of us are gonna get famous off this one.
I told them last con. I was like, I didn't see it, guys. It was good.
Don't tell them you're busy. You're trying to keep working. So let's go back. We kind of got ahead of ourselves a little bit. So you are originally you're originally from New Zealand.
Yes, born and raised.
So from New Zealand, and then I read you also have a twin brother who's also relatively successful in his own right as a lawyer in New Zealand.
Oh,
right?
You've been on my Wikipedia page. So I wrote that, and I was like, how did they get the information about my brother? Like.
Well, I mean,
where's this information going on? Yeah. I mean, it's there, right?
Of course, I did my research. I did my research. Absolutely.
So born and raised in New Zealand, in Auckland, which is, or Auckland, as people here say, because I'm like, oh yeah, I'm from New Zealand. I'm from Auckland, and they're like, oh, you're from Oakland, and I'm like, no, I just said I'm from New Zealand. But yeah, Auckland is how you guys pronounce it. So I'm from Auckland. Or Auckland, how we pronounce it. It's New Zealand's largest city there.
Yeah.
Landscape-wise, is not even too dissimilar from LA, and of course LA is just way bigger in scale. But landscape-wise, anyway, it's kind of like spread out and kind of like an urban city. So I've always been a city boy.
I had the pleasure of visiting about like 9 years ago. So,
dude, nice. Where'd you go?
Mostly in the rolling hills. I was working. Part of my, my backstory of being a web developer.
Cool. Is that what you do?
Yeah, I mean, I do.
I kind of wanted to do.
Yeah, go ahead.
No. So I was just gonna say, like, I love people listening. Like, so this is the first time. You and I chatted on Twitter for years. As like, Mike Ginn and the same spelling name.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know anything about you, and so like, I'm not sure if it's like right to bring you up into this, since the podcast is supposedly about me. But yeah,
it's a conversation.
Even when you just said that. Yeah, well, even when you just said that, it was like, oh, that's what you do. Like, like I've been talking to you for years, and I don't even really know you. So it's cool and just kind of refreshing just to hear what you do. Like,
we can get to that in a second. I definitely, I have no problem talking about me. That's fine. But
cool.
What I was saying is that, so web developer, web designer by trade. I do all the websites and everything for all my magazines and everything.
Sweet.
But I had a client I was working with. I guess it was 2009, and he had like a week-long trip, and then he did photography, and he had a week-long trip to New Zealand, and we were working on a project here in DC at the time, and he didn't want to fall behind on the project, so he brought me with him, and so I was doing some of the web design and development, also helping him push some of those pictures up to the internet and everything else at the time for him, because even though he was kind of tech savvy, he wasn't like completely up to date with a lot of the social networks and everything at the time. And so he brought me along with him, and man, it was an amazing experience. We only spent about maybe a day and a half in Auckland, but
cool.
The rest of the time we were just like going through the different rolling hills and the small little villas and taking like all these insane wildlife pictures. So it was pretty cool. I didn't even realize the island was as big as it was, or the country, I'm sorry. And like, because you on a map, especially coming from America, on a map, you see Australia, and then you see this little dot next to it. That's New Zealand. And
perfectly.
And then you get there, and you're like, this dot's pretty big. So
I mean, it's got a lot of kind of beautiful scenery and landscape, and kind of when you're in it, it's like, wow, this is just amazing. And it just obviously looks so expansive at that point, for sure.
Yeah,
nice, man, cool.
It was an amazing experience. One of the best things I've ever experienced in my life. Cool. But to get now, don't, and also these podcasts all get sidetracked. So just throw that out there now. That's one of the great.
Say that again.
I said all these podcasts get sidetracked. So it's gonna happen.
Yeah. Like a normal conversation.
I like to keep it authentic. I don't want to be, like I said, I don't want one of those interviews where people are like, "Hey, what's your favorite color?" And I mean, of course, right now I'm thinking yours is Power Ranger Gold, but I heard the blue, but
it's funny.
It's Power Ranger Gold. That's what we're saying.
The gold does stick with you. The color does stick with you. Like if I'll buy like a G-Shock or whatever, it's like I'll have to buy like the black and gold one. Like there has to be like the gold, just the color sticks with you. I was talking to another actor at a con, and like whatever color Ranger you were, like that color stays with you like through things. And like talk to the actors, and they've got like the Red Ranger, one of the Red Rangers, and he had like a red phone case, and his iPhone was red or something like that. Can
you imagine if you showed up one of those conventions with a blue watch? They'd be like, "Wait, why is your watch blue?"
Yeah, right. Get out of here. Yeah,
you're fake. No, it's like I'm an actor. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It does stick with you though, like just in clothing and just stuff, and like the gamer name or whatever. Like the color just kind of has a way of following you around, which is kind of funny. Didn't expect that to happen, but yeah, my favorite color is still blue.
Yeah, and as far as me, real quick, to get that out of the way, I mean, I do the web design, web development, run my own businesses, but mostly I bartend.
Yes,
I'm a craft bartender here in DC, so that's kind of what I do. Yeah, all these years, me and Mike have been talking to each other. It's always been through social media, so this is actually our first conversation of talking to ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, it was funny too. Like when I heard your voice, it's like, I was just saying, it's really kind of cool just actually hearing your voice and just talking to you, because we had been talking for years online.
Yeah, I had the benefit of hearing your voice first because of a couple interviews and stuff you've done. But so I guess I had a little bit of a cheat. But
right, yeah. Yeah. Do you have got a bit of an accent too? Like, what is that? Is that people, is that like an East Coast accent?
People not from here say that. I don't think I have an accent at all. So if that's the case, I mean, but everybody from everywhere else thinks somebody else has an accent. Me and my wife were down in Florida over the summer because we have a timeshare down there, and we took our daughter to one of the places. I think it was either Seaquarium or the zoo or one of those places we were at. Yeah. And we went into the gift shop, and the lady's like, "You guys have an accent. Where are you from?" And we're like, "We do." And my wife's Peruvian, so she slightly does. But she was born and raised in DC, so she doesn't really have an accent. She doesn't really have an accent either. And it's just one of those things where like, we have an accent. I think you have an accent, but
yeah, it is totally. I get that conversation all the time because people, they'll say, "Oh, can you, on Power Rangers, obviously I had to do an American accent," and or they'll say, "Oh, can you lose your accent or something, or you'll speak without an accent?" But it's everyone does like this. Let me just clear this up for everyone. Everyone has an accent relative to someone else.
Exactly.
Basically. Like if you went to Ireland and then you said, "Oh, I love your Irish accent," they'll say, "I don't have an accent. You're the one with the accent." It's that kind of thing. Like no one thinks they have an accent, but everyone has an accent to someone else. Yeah. It's just relative.
I think if anything, I have a milder one. If you ever do visit the East Coast, you'll visit certain places like down south. Northeast, like Jersey and Boston and stuff like that, and where they don't even pronounce their W's. It's like Worcester. Like, I'm not even gonna pretend because I'm getting in trouble with that one too. But my wife does the better imitations. I'm horrible at those.
Right. Well, I mean, America is so big, but those are way so many like kind of regions. Yeah. And I mean, and as an actor, there's the accent the American accent we're supposed to know is actually called the General American accent, or Gen Am, and essentially it's an accent from Nowheresville. There's no place that has this accent, but it's the accent that like news broadcasters will use just because it's the accent that most people around the country
that big bold television voice,
not closest, but that will understand. It's an accent that most people around the country will understand the easiest. But it's not even like an accent from any one region because it's from Nowheresville. So
and not to stereotype, but like when I first heard your voice, it was so big and bold. and I was like,
Oh,
I didn't expect that coming from, because I mean, I know you're.
what do you mean big and bold?
I mean, I know you're from New Zealand, and you sound just like everyone else from New Zealand. But
right,
but when you first see someone who's Asian, and they tend to have a little bit of a softer voice usually, and
okay.
And yours is much
I'm an actor, maybe.
Yeah, but yours is much more of a New Zealand voice than it is like a traditional. Like you've come across a lot of Asians being here in America, and they always like tend to have a little bit of a softer voice than you do. And being from New Zealand, you got like that New Zealand, Australian, like very big, like bold voice, and you almost got like a radio voice, like it's like bam, boom, and I'm just like, I mean, I didn't expect
honestly,
that.
it's not even so much an Asian from New Zealand. I think it's me specifically, just because I'm an actor. I think before I even got into acting, I don't think I even had that presence, I suppose. But there's something that happens when you study acting, you do theater, and there is something. I mean, you do need to be kind of more out there and bold, I suppose, when you're acting, because you're portraying characters way bigger than yourself, And you're portraying, if you're doing it in the theater, your voice has to hit the back wall for the person sitting in the back row. You know?
Exactly.
So you do have to at some point be bigger than yourself when you were living a normal life, not being an actor. So I think it's more that in terms of like the bigger and boldness thing. But as for like the accent, I get that. It's just a funny story, a side note as well. I get that a lot too here in America, because I'll be talking and I'll be talking my accent as I am now, and people are like, whoa, like they get taken aback. They're like, what's going on? You're Asian, but you've got a foreign accent, And it's just funny because I guess here they've only in the past have heard the sounds of like an American accent or an Asian accent come out their mouth. They've never heard like an Asian person with a New Zealand accent, and so that kind of takes them aback. But I always find that funny, because it kind of like presupposes that an Asian person, there's no Asian people in the world outside of America and Asia. But there's an Asian person who's speaking with a French accent, somewhere in the world.
Asians have pretty much conquered the world at one point or another.
We've gone around, right?
I mean, but like I said, my wife is Peruvian, and there's a huge Asian culture down there. And then depending on what part of the United States you're in, depends where like the Asians are from. So like here in DC, Maryland, Virginia area, there's a huge Korean population. Like it's huge.
Oh, right.
And if you go like to San Francisco, right up the coast from you, it's a huge Chinese and Cambodian population. Like, so.
Okay, cool.
I mean, Asia is a huge place. It's not like it's one country. So, obviously, especially China being the biggest country in the world, obviously people travel. Right. People, there's a lot of Chinese in Africa right now. So, obviously being a large place, the people travel, and everybody, you don't want to stereotype anybody. Everybody's different, but you
for sure.
You come off with that New Zealand accent. It just like, it really like not accent, voice, and like that voice just like blew me away the first time I heard it, because like I said, you're so used to hearing, and for you it's probably the complete opposite, right? Like you start hearing some of these Americans talk with slang and accents and this and that, and it's like, whereas in New Zealand a lot of people talk very proper, and I don't know if that's like the just the nature of the place and the history of the place, but a lot of people in New Zealand, like whenever I talk to them, it was very proper, and very proper grammar, very proper English, and I didn't really hear much slang like when people talk to me, and maybe it's just because I wasn't. Oh, really? Yeah, maybe it was just because I wasn't from there, so they were trying to talk, so they thought I would understand everything.
Maybe
they say,
I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe. New Zealand definitely have this slang.
Oh, I'm sure every place does, and it's different when you're talking to your friends versus a stranger too, right? But yeah,
absolutely, yeah.
One
of our.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go on.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say one of the our most popular one. I just as a side track thing is it's called it's sweet as. Yeah, and so essentially it just kind of mean sweet and then as, sweet as, because usually when I'm saying it, so it basically means cool, kind of like yes. Awesome.
So instead of cool, you say it's like basically like sweet,
sweet as, yeah. But I say
I do
people
remember
like
that.
sweet ass.
Yeah,
I'm
basically
like,
that's what I
no,
heard.
sweet
Yeah,
ass.
yeah, no, that's what I
Yeah,
heard too. I
yeah,
was
yeah.
like, "Oh, sweet." I was like, "Oh, you just want S."
Yeah, sweet
Okay,
ass. Yeah,
okay,
sweet
yeah,
ass.
yeah. I
Yeah, we're
got you.
good. Yeah, no, sweet ass.
No, I got you. But back
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
back on track a little bit.
Yeah,
So
sure.
you're growing up in New Zealand. You decide to
Uh-huh.
go. You decide that you're interested in becoming an actor. You go to school for it.
Yeah,
How did that all work out? Like, because I know
yeah. So
you obviously have done a lot more work that's not on some Wikipedia page. So
right,
how did you kind of fall in love with acting and decide that's
right.
really what you wanted to do?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So honestly, it hit me that it bit me. The bug bit me young. Um, if I had to kind of isolate the inception of it, I suppose it was my last year at an elementary school, and we had to do a skit to a bunch of other schools, a bunch of other elementary schools. And it was the first time I had done any acting at that point on stage. And I don't know, when I was on stage in front of all these kids from other schools and doing the skit, I don't know, it just kind of felt good. Like it felt like a duck to water kind of thing. It just felt right. The thing that kind of sold me on that was after doing it, it was just this comedy, and it actually went down really well. People loved it and laughed and stuff. All the kids laughed.
You remember what it was called?
And then it didn't have a name. It was funnily enough, I was playing an actor on this. Essentially how the skit went was I can't remember the scenario. It was something about me dying, but as an actor, you're watching an actor being an actor on stage, and then the director, which was an actor playing the director, which happened to be my brother, and he was like, okay, no, that's good, but do it a bit fast, and then I would do it and just kind of do it super fast, kind of you're playing something 2 times speed kind of thing with the same voice, and then okay, do it, that's good, but do it slow, and so it's just that, and do it a bit more posh, and it was just taking that and pushing that in envelope, super posh or whatever, and then he's you don't get it right, storms off kind of thing, and it was just funny, but the thing that really kind of made that memory really positive for me was afterwards, this little girl came up to me and she was like, oh, that was really good. I really loved it. And it was just that positive reinforcement for something that I had enjoyed at that moment. And so ever since then, during middle school, I was like, I'm going to become an actor. And at this point, I don't know where I got that from or anything. I didn't even think back to that, but I just knew that, I guess the seed was kind of germinating and sprouting in me.
Was there any kind of early on inspiration, like actors that you saw on TV or movies or something?
No, not really, man. No, it was just that girl saying that. It was awesome. But yeah, that was, I think, just from there, ever since that age, I just knew I wanted to be here, and I knew I wanted to be here too. I knew I wanted to be in America, in Hollywood, and doing all that. I've always wanted to be here. And so it's really fulfilling just being here, just because ever since I was a kid, I wanted to be here. But that was the start of it, man. And I didn't actually get involved in any acting in high school or anything, but I really wanted to go to drama school and study it. And so I auditioned. I auditioned for drama school, and I didn't get in because I didn't have any experience, and so I didn't get in that year, and so I was like, okay, I don't have any experience. You know what? I'm just going to take this year off, and then I'm going to go to as many acting workshops as I can. And so I did 10 acting workshops that year. Just studied acting from as many places as I could find acting workshops and classes in Auckland. And then I auditioned the next year, and I got in. It was pretty easy at that point because I had done enough, had enough experience at that point to know what I'm doing. And drama school was 3 years full-time acting, and it was this, one of the three best years of my life because I got to do what I loved doing, full-time for 3 years and just kind of grow and learn. And be surrounded by people, that had the same, passion as me. And yeah, like I said, I'd always wanted to go to live here, but I didn't know how at that point. I was like, okay, I need to be in Hollywood. How do I do it? And yeah, a lot of people don't know, but Power Rangers, it shoots in location in New Zealand.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. How that happened, because it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's an international show, and a lot of those shows do film, especially on location, like New Zealand or Ireland or somewhere like that has a lot of these, like, the rolling hills or the nice countryside that you can film a lot of these crazy action scenes and stuff.
Yeah, right. I mean, they shoot it in New Zealand for cost reasons, just because it's cheaper for that reason.
No, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think I can't remember how many years they shot it in LA before they moved it, but it's been there since can't remember. I want to say probably early 2000s. I want to say something like that. It's been there for a while, and it's still shooting there now. Like the current season of Power Rangers, it's always been in New Zealand since. Even through the transition between like Disney, when Disney had the rights, and then they sold it back to Saban. Sorry. And yeah, so I just kind of finished drama school, and I was like, okay, I need to get to LA. How am I going to do this? And I knew Power Rangers was shooting in New Zealand. So I was like, man, I would really love to be a Power Ranger. That'd be so sick. But every year prior to that, they had said, oh, this is going to be the last season of Power Rangers, because Disney owned the rights at that point, and they were trying to get rid of the license and the show. And they said, okay, this is going to be the last season. We're going to get rid of it. We're going to sell it. And then we're just going to kill Power Rangers. And so I was like, all throughout drama school, I was like, oh, I hope they have another season. I really want to get on. And then, so I was a kid fresh out of drama school. And thankfully, Power Rangers was still going on at that point, because Disney did, after my season, I was the last season with Disney. They actually did kill it for a bit.
So sorry to interrupt, but quick question.
Yeah.
So was like every season of Power Rangers pretty much filmed in New Zealand at that point?
No, I think,
or just
at that point,
of them?
it was. Yeah, since the early 2000s, I think it was filmed in New Zealand. It definitely was filmed in New Zealand. I'm not sure how many seasons they filmed in LA. They started in LA with Mighty Morphin, and then I'm not sure how many seasons before that. I actually could find out for you. Hang on, if it's important.
It was a curiosity thing, because I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they filmed in LA, and I know they filmed out there, but I didn't know if it was always there, then moved to LA, or I didn't know how that worked. Just curious.
Oh, yeah. Oh, here it is. So I'm just looking it up, because I actually screenshot it. So it was something like, hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Something like 8 seasons in LA. And then Ninja Storm was the one. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 before me. Yeah. And so it's, and so but then Disney was trying to get rid of Power Rangers for whatever reason. They were trying to just kill the show, because they weren't interested in it anymore. So I was in drama school, and I was like, okay, I need to get on this. And then thankfully it was still on, and I auditioned for it, and then I got on, which was really fortunate, and especially for this kid straight out of drama school, and getting this kind of American production that everyone knew the name of. And that was what helped get me over at that point to America. To get the work visa, basically, because to get a work visa to come here, you need to prove that you've done something, I suppose. But I totally didn't know how I was going to do it, and that just kind of fell in my lap, and it was something that I'd always wanted to do as well. So it was just kind of perfect.
Were all the actors on your series from New Zealand, or were anybody from America or anywhere else in the world?
Yeah. So what happened was, when Disney owned it, they did have Power Rangers from New Zealand and Australia and the UK on it, and then so like I said, my season was the last one Disney owned, and they sold it back to Saban. When Saban brought it back, that's when it was all the actors were American now. So I'm not sure people and people wouldn't have known, because everyone no matter who they were, had to speak in American, like I said before. Yeah. So that's how that was.
And it's funny.
And yeah, so that was.
It's funny.
Sorry.
I'm kind of doing some like on the fly research about stuff as I'm talking to you, and I didn't realize you actually that series also starred Eka Darville, who was on Jessica Jones.
Yeah. Eka. Yeah. That's right.
Eka, sorry, yeah. Like I was like looking at some of the faces on the Internet Movie Database, and I'm like, wait a minute, that guy looks familiar, because I was looking to see if all the other actors were from New Zealand or Australian, and he popped up as one of the first, and I'm like, oh wow, okay.
You didn't even know he was Australian, right? As well, probably.
No, not at all. I mean.
Yeah.
I guess if I think about it, not directly though, not just by appearances and the way he was acting.
Yeah.
No, he definitely seemed more American, but yeah, no. I mean, I guess if you look back, hindsight, but yeah, no, I had no idea. Was there anybody else?
Yeah.
Was there anybody else on the show that kind of also kind of made it a little bit? Was that
Rose McIver, our Yellow Ranger? She's on iZombie.
Oh, okay.
She's she's the lead on iZombie. I haven't even seen that too. Shout out to the dude. So at my last con in Long Beach over the just the past weekend.
She was on Once Upon a Time too.
Oh, that's Adelaide, I think. Yeah. I feel really bad for not knowing the shows properly. This is the thing, and this is why I told the Ranger fans too. I just don't watch a lot of TV in general. That's why. That's my justification. But yeah.
That's pretty cool. I mean, connections around the world, right? So you do Power Rangers. You hang out in New Zealand for a few more years, and then you make that trip out to LA. Did you come out to LA to really further your acting career, or just because you kind of wanted to come to America and try that different experience?
No, it was like I said, ever since I was a kid, I wanted to be here. Ever since I was a kid, I wanted to be here doing acting, and just Power Rangers was the way that I was able to do that. So I was just, because like I said, I just had no idea how I was going to get here, in terms of like just anything. Because America's, for a lot of people living here, America's not an easy country to get into if you're not American. It's expensive, and you have to kind of somehow prove your way in, essentially. So that's how that happened. Yeah, that came in. I was like, yes, I actually have a way to get into America now. And so, like I said, I've always wanted to be here. And the first day I got here as well, it was. I had said to my friend who was picking me up in the airport, I wasn't even outside of LAX, and I said, oh, wow, just being here, I was like, wow, this already feels like home. And, and ever since then, honestly, it has exceeded expectations. Like I genuinely do feel that sense of home here, like when you're in a place and you get that sense of belonging or a sense of just being home. I totally get that feeling. Yeah,
have you kind of like traveled around and seen New York and seen other places, or you just been pretty much in LA?
I have not too many places. I need to see more, and it's funny, the places I have been, it's usually like through the convention scenes when they fly me out. But I haven't seen too many places. But you get a sense of just like hearing about other places. It feels like LA is definitely like that place for me. And plus, I think I brainwashed myself being so young that this was going to be where I was going to live. So I think that has a part of it too. But I genuinely do feel that feeling of home and belonging here. New Zealand too, but I feel like I have two places I can call home now.
Well, you've been here for quite a while now, so.
Yeah. And so, it's like I said, ever since that day one, I've had that feeling. So I definitely do feel like, this is where I'm meant to be and where I want to be, for sure. Yeah. But I definitely do need to see more of America. I'd love to see the South. No, I've been to Kentucky, but I'd love to see more of the South. There's something about the South I really want to see as well. And just the experience the difference in culture there. I'm dying to see the South, really. I need to do a road trip or something. But I haven't been to New York. God, I don't know why.
Yeah, your brain.
You go to New York as well.
The first time you experienced New York, I was like on none of the. When I went out to LA. When I went out to LA for the first time, it was cool. It was chill. It was laid back. There was a lot to do.
Yeah.
and it's a huge city, but there's a lot to do. But it's a different experience when you go into New York City. You hit Manhattan, you hit the different boroughs. That's almost like a culture all to itself. So it's definitely something I would say you have to experience to know. You can't just read about it. You can't just see it on TV. Like you have to, like the moment you hit those streets with those tall, expansive, like sky, these towers like rising over top of you, and you're just looking up, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm here.
Dude, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, and then Miami,
sure.
obviously, you gotta hit Miami up too.
Right, yeah, that's another place. Yep, yes. I'm dying to see New York from what I hear. It sounds like it's got amazing energy of its own, and there's just like LA's got a lot of things going on and happening, but even more so like apparently in New York, and it doesn't close in terms of like here it kind of closes a bit early, but it seems like there's more going on and more hours of the day, which sounds amazing. Like I'm all for that for sure.
And then hit up DC so I can buy you a drink. So there you go.
Sweet, dude. Yeah, hell yeah.
All right, so let's get back on track a little bit. So you're in LA. You're doing a little bit. You're doing a little bit of work here too. What are some of the projects you've been working on lately?
A lot of so what happened? Continuing with that, I did some independent projects.
Yeah.
Independent films. I did take a bit of a hiatus, a kind of break from acting for a few years actually, and I'm just kind of getting back into it now, and in just with a way more kind of like definitive purpose and passion as well. So just kind of getting back into auditioning part of it now, even more so and better than I was before. But yeah, there was a kind of like a bit of a hiatus in between of years, and just kind of chilling out here in New Zealand. But yeah, just kind of like independent project, independent films. I got to work with the executive producer on Power Rangers. He created, he wrote, and his wife directed in the psychological thriller horror film, and he casted a lot of the actors from my season of Power Rangers that made it into that film.
Oh, cool.
Won some awards. So that was fun for the fans as well, that they got to see like all these Power Rangers in this kind of like darker film,
a different role,
completely unrelated to Power Rangers.
Kind of break you out of that stereotype.
Yeah. So it's fun just kind of working with them again. But yeah, it's kind of had been like independent films, and I'd done another one in New Zealand as well that was well received here. When I got here, I was able to do a lot of the film festival circuit for that New Zealand film, because it just did so well internationally that just made it into all these international film festivals. And then it was just cool just being here and doing the film festival rounds for that film that I'd done in New Zealand. And got to meet people that way as well. Now I took that break and just kind of getting back into it now, and it's pilot season right now, and so kind of out busy auditioning, which is really I'm really grateful for as well.
Are you more into doing like TV series now, or are you trying to stay in film, or like what do you want to try to do?
I mean, right now, anything that biggest company chooses really. Like at this point in my career, it's not that I can be too choosy. I'm honestly, I would be happy for. Yeah. I'm totally happy with anything. Having said that, like Endgame, if you're asking me what I would like to end up Endgame, like I think I would enjoy film a lot more. Like there's something about being with a project and doing it for a few months and then getting out and putting on another, character and just, just jumping. I don't know. I like that temporary thing a bit more than I know some people like, man, I love like TV series. If I could just be on a TV series, I could, be this one character for multiple years and really sink my teeth into. I mean, and so it's everyone's kind of different, but I don't know. I like the idea of like just putting on as many different skins as I can, I suppose, and just the nature of film. But it's definitely screen, like film and TV over. Not to say I dislike theater. I enjoy theater, but in terms of as a focus for my career, it's definitely screen, film, and TV. And in terms of the difference in screen, I think I would enjoy film more than TV. In game wise, but right now, obviously, I'd be super fortunate and grateful for anything in
Yeah,
terms of like film or TV.
I mean, I don't have any like real actor experience other than like me trying to like be cool when I was younger. But like for me, like I honestly like I thought like it would always be a better experience trying to do film too, just because it's much more of like an immersive thing. Like you're on set for a few months, you're totally immersed into this character. Yeah. It's not like come and go. So I kind of get what you're saying, and you know I think it's really cool, kind of what Netflix has been doing and Amazon with some of these series they're doing, because even though they're like TV shows, they're like the kind that you kind of, you know, watch all at once and you kind of suck them all down and it's almost like the same thing because, you know, it's commercial free. It's like they don't have to like plan for breaks. It's like, here's the entire thing. We'll break it into like say 10 shows or 13 shows and here we'll call it a series, but it's really just an extremely long movie. And you can kind of binge watch it, so that's kind of the best of both worlds for some actors, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
You get
honestly, Netflix and Hulu and Amazon, and they've changed the game completely for sure. But yeah, it's I'm sorry, plane going overhead. But yeah, it's kind of and that's kind of like why I like acting too. It's kind of because you get to, you know, vicariously live, you know, another person's life experience is so different from your own. Like, you know, playing this, you know, like something like this bad guy, drug dealing, like girlfriend beating dude, and you know, hopefully you would never be that in your life, but then you get to
don't end up part of the Me Too movement. Right. Don't end up a hashtag.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, God, when that happened, God, I was thinking about, did I do anything? You know, it's you're getting to put on other people's skins and just live multiple lifetimes, basically, of all these other, lifetimes of other people that you wouldn't normally, that has experiences you would normally never have in your real life. And getting to play that multiple times, like, you know, like in film, hopefully, like I said, in game, if you're in that position too. But it's just kind of like putting on different skins all the time, and you know, and you really get into experience those feelings and experience those experiences that this character has. It's something else, you know. It's like, you get to really be someone else and live, and hopefully like live multiple lifetimes over your own normal lifetime, I guess. It's kind of a really fun thing. But that's kind of like in film, I would love to be able to do that. Just, you know, in crazy scenarios that you'd never live in your lifetime, whether it's like being in a matrix or being like, you know, fighting aliens or whatever.
Of course.
It's unreal.
I've seen some of those made, and just watching, you know, you sit there and watch some of these actors, you know, try their best to recreate certain scenes in front of like a green screen, basically, or on an empty set, and then you see the final result. And you know, when some of these tech guys get in there with the CGI and they get in there with the movie effects, if you want to call it that, and all of a sudden you see like this amazing scene, like, because they filmed a couple Transformers here in DC, and you watch them, and you know, see the guys running on the street like they're running away from this huge monster alien robot, and not that anybody doesn't know what Transformers is, but you know, this huge like robot, and all of a sudden they hop in this car and speed away, and then you see that exact same scene in the movie, a little bit edited, but you see the same scene, and you're like, oh, I see what he was doing there. That was coming after. Oh, okay, now I see it, and you know, it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool to see both sides of it sometimes when you see behind the scenes and you see like how it comes to life in TV. You know, and being kind of new to podcasting, I'm a little horrible at segues, but I did want to kind of bring up something. You're talking about being other people. So I came across this, and I'm assuming it's true because it's actually on your Internet Movie Database page. But there was a little web TV series called Flat 3 that you like played Jackie Chan.
Oh, see now I didn't actually play the Jackie Chan everyone knows as Jackie Chan. I played a guy, his name was Jackie Chan.
Oh, okay, so it's kind of like a play on the name.
Oh, hey, is your name seriously Jackie Chan? It's like, yeah, it's Jackie Chan. But I didn't actually play the Jackie Chan.
Well, that's even funnier.
So that's what that was about.
Yeah, I'm
glad I got to clear that up, because like, people do see that, naturally think, I played, the Jackie Chan or, something. But yeah, just to clear that up, that's
so it's just a comedy character that happened to have the same name.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, he wasn't really a comedy character, but it was just a comedic moment where it was, it was like, oh, what's your name, Jackie Chan? Really? Kind of thing. It's like, yeah, it is. Kind of thing.
Maybe
I don't think I'd be able to do him justice, man.
Maybe one day I'll be doing the same thing. What's your name? Mike Ginn. Oh, you mean like that the other guy? Yeah, the famous one.
Yeah. In terms of segue, do you want to talk about the name pronunciation now?
Well, I mean, we can get into this. It's kind of a funny story.
How do you, man? You're driving this.
Because I remember, man, this was years ago, like when we first started talking. And for people that don't really know, so me and Mike, if you Google our name, one of the two of us usually comes up. And over the years, because of the Power Ranger thing, I'm not holding a grudge or anything, but he's kind of rised above me a little.
Sounds like it, man.
Right? Yeah. I am all the more, wish you the most success.
I'm just playing with you, man.
Yeah. No, I absolutely. No, I'm excited for you. Especially since I've seen you doing some of these conventions and stuff, and kind of getting your name back out there lately. And even getting on social media a little bit more lately. So I'm excited for you.
Getting ready to do it.
But it's funny because it's like, here we are, one of the two of us. If there's a new email service like Gmail when it came out, and who's going to get Mike Ginn first, or who's going to get Hotmail first, or who's going to get Yahoo first, and it was always like this competition. And then through Twitter, I think it was Twitter before Facebook, but like through Twitter, like all of a sudden we started joking about it, and we became good friends. And I happened to look and say, hey, look, I'm one of the 70 people he follows. So that's pretty cool. And it's kind of funny. It's because, we started hitting it up. And then I asked him one day a long time ago, how do you pronounce the last name? And then he told me, and I'm just like, oh, man, you're one of those.
So how's go ahead. I pronounce it Gin. I pronounce it Gin. And I think everyone else pronounced it Ginn.
Yeah, and I like to always tell people, I'm like, there's two N's. It's not a liquor. There's two N's. It's not a spirit. There's an extra N. And it wasn't, and like my entire life, people, especially in my business, being a bartender full time as my way of making an income, people always like, oh, that's really cool. Your last name is Ginn. I'm like, actually it's Ginn. But I'm 40 years old now. I'm way beyond the stage of getting upset about it. But as a kid, you always correct people all the time. People mispronounce your name.
Right.
And so I spent the better part of 40 years trying to say, no, it's pronounced Ginn. And now here I am interviewing somebody who pronounces it Gin. And I'm just like,
Well, here's the thing. Like, okay, so my dad, here's the thing. Originally it was spelled, apparently, when my dad had the name, it was spelled Gin. And he legally changed it before I was born. Like, I think when he was younger, actually, he legally changed it to Ginn. But I think he kept the pronunciation of it. And so it carried forward with a different spelling, but the same pronunciation. And so that's probably why, and explains probably why it's spelled the same, but pronounced differently.
Yeah. And if you do the research on the name, as far as like the American version of the name, it comes from like a Scottish descent, and it was originally Gunn.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, it was originally Gunn.
Say it again, sorry?
It was like originally Scottish, so it was Gunn. It was Gunn, and over the years coming in the United States, the U changed to an I, and long story. The podcast is only an hour long. I'm not going to go in the whole history of the name, but but and eventually it changed. And there's a lot of famous Ginns. As a kid growing up in America, there was a big, like all the elementary and middle schools all the books were made by Ginn Publishing. So that was kind of cool. Okay. And in the Southeast, we're talking about traveling in the South. In the Southeast, a lot of the famous country clubs are owned by a guy named, I think his name is Robert Ginn or something like that. Bob Ginn or something like that. And he's also the same one. I don't know if you ever watch, and I'm not a huge fan myself, but if you ever watch like NASCAR racing or any other stuff like Joe Gibbs Racing, who used to be a football coach here in D.C., his racing team was owned by Robert Ginn. And so, and then of course now we got the football player Ted Ginn Jr., and his dad, who's a famous football coach in Ohio for a number of years, in Virginia and everything else. And so it helped less people mispronounce my name. But
right,
you
yeah.
know, I mean, I got it just like a couple weeks ago. Somebody came up to me and was like, "Hey, Jen." I'm like, "That's not my name."
Yeah, no, it doesn't help that every time someone does pronounce them, I'm quick on correcting them. They're like, oh, here, you know, if they're doing an interview with me and they're like, I'm here with Mike Ginn. I'm like, oh, Jen. So I'm
Yeah,
kind of like, I'm doing all your years of work, your decades of work.
It's reflex. Yeah.
Pronouncing it.
Somebody's gonna come.
Sure.
Somebody's gonna come interview
funny,
me
man.
one day, and it's like, no, the other guy said it was pronounced Jin. I'm like,
Yeah.
he's from the other side of the.
Well,
he's from the other hemisphere. Maybe in the other hemisphere.
Well, yeah. I mean, sorry, what's that?
No, I was joking. I said, yeah, maybe in the other hemisphere it's pronounced that.
Yeah, maybe that's funny. Yeah, I mean, like it's gonna be even funnier. Like, you know, if I'm gonna continue doing more work and people getting out my name, everyone's gonna know it's gonna be Jen now. that name.
Well, lucky enough, I still have a few more followers than you, so I'm winning.
Oh yeah,
I'm winning the name. I'm winning the name battle. Nothing else, but I'm winning the name battle.
Yeah, no, hey, but we've got the same name there. We've got the same spelling. So you need to get out your pronunciation before it's too late, I think.
Yeah, it was funny because I asked you like what your current email was, and then you put the Mikey in there, and I'm like, well, that's good. He's got that. I never use Mikey, so he's got that.
Do you have the Gmail? Do you? I mean, like, I don't want to put your email out.
No, that's fine. And anybody can reach me at MG at the Certified Mag. I love feedback and hearing all that. No, you can't be successful at this if you're hiding who you are. So please, people, reach out. Let me know how you feel about the episodes. I love to hear about all feedback. MG at thecertifiedmag.com. Shameless plug. But
not do it.
No,
your show, man.
I don't have the Gmail, and I'm not sure if I did originally or not. You know, it's much like Twitter. Like originally on Twitter, and I don't think I ever had Mike Ginn.
You mentioned this, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I ever had Mike Ginn on Twitter, but I did have Mike. Like when it first launched in 2006, and I was really on the tech curve back then. You know, it's like, oh, here's this new service you got to sign up for. It's going to be the new Facebook. It's going to be the new MySpace, the new everything. Yeah. And I was like, all right, cool. I signed up for it, and about a week later, I'm like, man, there's nobody here. What's the point of this? And I just deleted it. I was like, I'm never going to use it. Never going to use it. And then it's also bit me in the butt before, too, because even though I use _ AKA Mike now on Twitter, like, and everybody can follow him. It is at Mike Ginn, right? Or Mike Ginn, I'm sorry. At Mike Ginn, right?
Yeah.
So Mike here actually has the name. But, you know, even AKA Mike, originally I had that, and then I changed my name to something different because back in the day we always used to change our names around and be something cool and different. Yeah. And I can't get that back either because somebody else got that. So now
someone took it?
Yes, a long time ago. Yeah. So I when I finally changed it back, I just kept the underscore in front of it, and I was like, fine, it's going to be what it is. I'm not changing it again because I'm going to lose it again. Yeah. Just going to leave it.
Stop changing and deleting your account, dude.
Funny enough, the account I have now started off as a social experiment. So I originally had, and then this is long gone too. I had just my private account. It was like mgin3 or something small. And I would talk to my friends and stuff on that Twitter account. And this is back in like 2009 or so. And I wanted to prove that anybody could get 1 million followers if you just did like certain social etiquette, right? You know, follow people back, engage in conversations, back when hashtags were first getting involved, and just if you followed certain etiquette, you could get up there. And my Twitter account started taking off. You know, of course, I was doing the magazine at the time, and I was interviewing people through written interviews, and my name was building up as well through the internet, as just like as a writer and a content creator. And as I'm doing this, that account took off, and I'm like, well, why do I have both accounts now? Let me just use the one that has more followers. And eventually, that one got up to some ridiculous number, like 45,000 or something. And eventually, I got to the point where like, I can't keep up with this timeline. I can't follow everybody back. And it took about maybe 3 or 4 months for me to take that 40,000 people or so I was following back and trim it all the way down to about 300 or 400 people. And like,
what do you mean trim it? Why would you trim it?
Because I wanted to be able to follow the timeline. I wanted to be able to follow what my friends were doing, follow what the people I was interested in following were doing. You know, it wasn't any longer about me just trying to build my name. It wasn't about me trying to be famous, if you want to use that word.
Yeah.
It was just like, I have no control over this Twitter account now. I go and log on. Yeah. I don't see what anybody's saying because I have 40,000 different users and the timeline's moving like lightning fast. Like I can't see what Mike Ginn said. I can't see that. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I totally feel you. Only because for me, I'm always trying to reply to people as much as I can, and I know apparently a lot of actors don't do that, like with fans, but I always try to I always try to kind of if someone hits me up on one of the social medias, I always try to reply, and a lot of people will know, if they tweet at me or send me a message or whatever, I always try to reply. But at some point, I know it's going to get to a point at some point in my career where it's going to be really difficult to do that, to reply back to everyone. When your follower count gets in hundreds of thousands or the millions or whatever, I know it's going to just be impossible at that point, logistically, time wise.
Yeah, but you just
so I do feel you. And yeah, and in terms of your timeline getting it, one thing getting back into social media is I've been trying to follow more people too. In the past, I was oh no, I'm gonna be exclusive, so I'm not gonna follow too many people. But I'm trying to follow more people now, so I'm building up my follow account. So I'm trying to follow people as well now. And yeah, you do kind of this is the first time I'm going, I'm kind of losing the timeline. How do I kind of keep track of certain people? It's a lot more difficult. But yeah, it's just I guess it's kind of just the logistic side of social media, I guess, with numbers and and
even now
and wanting to focus.
Yeah, even now I still can't follow everybody. It's funny, I follow I'll find somebody new to follow, and then the way the timeline moves so quickly nowadays, with people constantly a phone in their hands, everybody's constantly sending updates, especially when a breaking story or something newsworthy is going on, whether it's sports or the shooting in Florida or whatever, big breaking news or something Donald Trump does. It's always something like that. Timeline's just flowing so fast. And I hate the fact that Facebook does the out of order thing. You have to go look for recent stories from everybody. And the one thing Twitter still does is kind of keeps everything chronologically, which is awesome.
Gotcha.
And Instagram pissed me off with that too, because they follow Facebook because Facebook owns them. But you miss so much. You just miss so much. So when I was following everybody back, there's no way I could have done that justice to still reply to everybody and still to be interactive and still to be friendly and you just come off as excuse my language, but you just come off as being a dick. You're like, hey, Mike didn't reply to me. Oh, I got 13,000 people replying to the same comment. You can't. So I tuned it way down, and now I only have maybe 17, 18,000 followers. But and I'm not even sure how many of them are even still paying attention to me, because sometimes I tweet stuff and I get no responses. Sometimes I tweet stuff and I get 100 responses. So I mean, the news moves so fast. I think the only thing you can do is the more your following grows, just kind of pick and choose the best comments, the things that stick out to you. Because if you reply to a few people, it still gives people hope that you will reply. I see a lot of major celebrities like that, like The Rock, right? The Rock doesn't. I don't think The Rock follows anybody. I think his follower count 0 or something like that, or maybe he follows like one person or something. But you see him respond all the time.
The kind of the guy who I kind of in terms of social media, and I mean, even way before this guy, the guy I'm going to bring up is Gary Vaynerchuk. But even before him, I always replied to everyone. That's just who I was. But yeah, just even hearing that he tries to reply to everyone as much as he can, it just shows that I can still do that and should be doing that, no matter how many kind of followers I have. Just always at least try to reply and get back to people, because honestly, you see this. You'll see if a fan, a Power Ranger fan or whatever, or just a fan of anything, if they see someone who they're following just like their comment, sometimes that's enough to kind of make their day. And this is what I would say, if you can like a comment and it actually gets a positive response from people, and you make someone's day, replying to them, that it can only bring happiness into someone's life, and so I always try to, because I just know the effect that it would have.
Yeah, that made my day the other day. That happened just to me. Like I said, I've been on the internet for a long time. Like because I'm a big wrestling fan, and there was a female wrestler who retired this year, and she was one of my favorites, a woman named Gail Kim, and speaking of Asians, a woman named Gail Kim, and she wrestled for WWE for a little while and TNA for a little while, and blah blah blah, and they have like a little documentary going on about her, and they showed like a teaser clip, and I was like, man, that's so exciting. She was one of my favorites, and of course I tagged her and I tagged the director, and both of them liked my comment, and I was like, oh shit, she saw my comment, she saw my comment, she liked me, and even me, like I, I'm not new to the internet. Like even me, like I got excited. Or my wife one time, she posted, Nicki Minaj had an album coming out, and she posted her album cover and tagged Nicki about how excited she was about the album. And Nicki liked her Instagram post. Like literally, Nicki Minaj liked her post. And my wife went, it's just the little things.
Totally. And so if someone can reply that, if someone, like in terms of like the time investment for the benefits, the ratio for that, like the time investment is like half a second for someone to click like, and for if it actually makes someone's day, or even just even a couple minutes of bring someone joy, then it's way worth it for the person that's in that position to provide that joy to that person, if they can just like and reply. And so I know the impact that because like I said, I'm so grateful and humbled to be a part of this huge franchise that so many people has had such a positive effect on people's childhood, or like even said adult fans, like they love. And so just having that kind of that somewhat of an influence, if I know that if I can kind of like like if I just reply or like a comment or whatever, then I always try to, like I said, I always try to reply, because I just know that I'm in that position that I can. Yeah,
it goes a long way.
It does. It really does. So I always try to anyway.
Well, on that
I hope to always try to, as big as it gets. That's something I would always want to do.
Yeah. Sure. Well, on that note, I think I've taken up enough of your time today. Right around that 1 hour mark. I would love to have
that's cool, man.
I would love to have you back on, chat it up. It's been a long time coming, so I'm really appreciative of you coming on my show. Learning to talk is a new skill for me today, evidently. But no, I definitely appreciate you coming on the show. It's been a pleasure finally catching up with you. Why don't you go ahead and tell everybody?
Pleasure was all mine, man.
Why don't you go ahead and tell everybody where they can follow you at Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff you want to?
Twitter at Mike Ginn, MikeGinn. At Instagram
comment.
At Mike Ginn. Yeah, I knew as soon as I said it. But yeah, MikeGinn at Mike Ginn at Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. Yeah.
Awesome, and I think we both can agree for everybody to unfollow "Shut Up, Mike Ginn" because he doesn't associate.
I don't care, man. I don't care.
Nah, he's actually passed both of us. Like if you look at his following account, it's like he's got celebrities following him and all kinds of stuff. And I think he's actually based out.
That's cool, man. Like all power to him.
I think he's based out in LA too.
The more Mike Ginns or Gins there are out there doing things, we're all in the same family of names, so we're all on the same team here.
I think you responded to the one person. There is a lot of us. If you Google it, there is a ton of us. Especially if you look it up on like Facebook.
Right? Yeah.
Well, I mean,
my brother's name.
Mike's such a common name.
Yeah, my brother. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my brother. His name's Ken Jin. But he doesn't have to compete with as many people, like as many Ken Jins out there. So. Good for him.
Well, when you're named after...
That's okay. We got more numbers. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're religious or not, but when you're named after a biblical name, like, and Michael Jackson, Mike Tyson, Michael Jordan, there's a billion Michaels, so there's bound to be a lot of us if we have the same last name.
My name is actually Mike, though. On my birth certificate is actually Mike Ginn.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
I don't have a middle name. It's just that's my name. My birth certificate, Mike Ginn. That's it.
Well, that's simple and to the point.
Yeah, right.
But Mike, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Taking the time on an early morning. This show probably air in about a week or so after we record this. Probably the Friday after we're recording this on a Thursday, so not tomorrow, about a week from now. But
all right.
Trying to get these episodes back on track since I got a little too ambitious trying to do 2 episodes a week, and now I'm trying to get down to 1 a week and make it easier on my schedule.
Nice.
So I can keep content consistently coming out to all the listeners.
Consistency, right? Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. People want to know where to find you. People want to know how to keep in touch with you, and they want to they like a podcast. They want to keep listening to it, right? So definitely, it's about keeping great content coming out. You can go follow Mike at Mike Ginn with mispronounced and all with 2 N's at all the different social networks. Mike, it's been a pleasure. I'm gonna let you go. Thanks for talking to me, man.
Cool. Thank you for talking to me, and thank you for having me on the podcast, man. Good talking to you for the first time.
All right, man. It's been a pleasure.
Cool.
And we're out.
Yeah, pleasure was all mine.